You've probably heard about the crisis we're in. We're facing these things called superbugs, bacteria that have learned to shrug off our best antibiotics. It's a huge problem. But what if the solution wasn't some new chemical cooked up in a lab? What if it was something alive?
Yeah, you heard that right. I'm talking about a literal microscopic predator, a hunter that has spent millions of years getting really, really good at killing other bacteria. And this isn't science fiction anymore. This idea is jumping right off the pages and into some of the most advanced labs in the world.
So, let's meet our little hunter. The scientific name, well, it's a bit of a mouthful. Delovibrio bacteriivores. So let's just stick with its much cooler nickname, the vampire bacterium. And trust me, it has absolutely earned that name.
All right, so what is this microscopic assassin? What makes it tick? Let's dive into the predator's profile.
First thing you need to know, it's an obligate predator. That means it doesn't really have a choice in the matter. It can't live on sugar, it can't live on sunlight. No, it has to hunt, kill, and eat other bacteria to survive. Even its name, which comes from the Greek word for leech, kind of tells you everything you need to know about its lifestyle. It finds a victim, latches on, and it does not let go.
And get this, the speed of this thing is just unbelievable. It's one of the fastest swimmers in the entire microscopic world. Now, to put that number into perspective for you, if you or I could move at the same relative speed, we'd be swimming at over 600 kilometers per hour. That's about the cruising speed of a jet airliner. So this isn't some slow-motion stalker, it's a high-speed missile.
Okay, now for the part that could actually turn this thing into a medicine. It's a super picky eater. It only goes after a specific class of bacteria called gram-negatives. This group includes a lot of bad guys we want to get rid of, like E. coli and Salmonella. But, and this is the crucial part, it completely ignores gram-positive bacteria, like the infamous superbug MRSA. And most importantly, it has zero interest in our own human cells. This specificity is what makes it like a potential guided missile for fighting infections.
All right, let's get to the main event, the hunt itself. It's not just a simple attack, it's a brutally efficient four-step process.
Think of it like a four-act play. First, there's the high-speed chase, then a really clever invasion. After that, things get a little gruesome with digestion from the inside out, and it all ends with an explosive finale that unleashes a whole new squad of hunters. Let's break it down, step by step.
So, step one is the attack. The Delovibrio uses something called chemotaxis to literally sniff out its prey. When it locks on a target, it doesn't just gently bump into it. No, it slams into it with incredible force. It latches on with what scientists call a kiss of death, and it immediately starts drilling a hole through the outer wall. Once it's locked on, it actually sheds its own tail. It's all in. It won't be needing that anymore.
And this is where the strategy gets really brilliant. For any of you medical students watching, this detail is key. The vampire doesn't invade the main part of the cell, the cytoplasm. No, it's smarter than that. It squeezes itself into what's called the periplasmic space, this tiny, tiny gap that exists between the prey's inner and outer cell membranes.
Once it's inside that safe little nook, it patches up the hole behind it and gets to work. It completely hijacks the host cell, forcing it to swell up into a sphere that scientists call a bedeloplast. At this point, the prey is basically a zombie. It's alive, but it's not in control anymore. This bedeloplast has now become a fortified dining room and a nursery all in one.
Now, from the safety of that periplasmic space, the vampire starts to feed. It pumps digestive enzymes into the prey's main body and just sucks out all the good stuff. All the proteins, the DNA, everything. It's literally like drinking a juice box. And as it eats, it doesn't divide like a normal bacterium. Instead, it grows into one single long coiled filament. Once all the food is gone, that filament breaks apart into 3 to 6 brand new baby predators.
The whole cycle takes about 3 to 4 hours. And for the grand finale, the new predators release their own enzymes that just dissolve the host cell wall from the inside out. The zombie cell bursts open, boom, and a brand new swarm of hungry vampire bacteria is unleashed to start the hunt all over again. It's just a terrifyingly effective system.
So, okay, this microscopic horror show is pretty fascinating, right? But why should we care? Well, this is where it connects to one of the biggest medical challenges on the planet, especially in places like India, the superbug crisis.
Look, the reality is pretty stark. Antimicrobial resistance, or AMR, is skyrocketing.
The chemical antibiotics that have been the foundation of modern medicine for the last century, they're starting to fail us. We are running out of options, and we desperately need new weapons in this fight.
And when you compare them side by side, you can really see the potential. Bacteria get resistant to our static, chemical drugs all the time. But how do you become resistant to a living predator that's evolving right alongside you? It's much, much harder. And then you've got biofilms, those slimy shields that bacteria build on things like medical implants. Our drugs can't get through. But Bordetella vibrio, it can burrow right in and eat the infection from the inside out.
And this isn't just a cool idea anymore. The science is moving incredibly fast, and some very recent breakthroughs are pushing this from theory toward actual therapy. So let's take a look at what's happening on the frontier.
So, what's the latest intel? Well, first, researchers think it might be using something called swashing, basically using the physics of fluid flow to hunt even better inside tight spaces like catheter tubes. Second, a massive breakthrough using CRISPR technology is now letting scientists turn the vampire's genes on and off one by one to figure out exactly how its predatory toolkit works. And third, and this is really important, studies in India are looking at a One Health approach, using these predators to kill superbugs in wastewater before they even have a chance to infect people, a truly preventative strategy.
But, okay, before we get too carried away, we have to be realistic. There are some major hurdles to clear before your doctor is writing you a prescription for vampire bacteria.
So why isn't this on pharmacy shelves already? Well, first, there's the delivery problem. I mean, how do you package a living predator and keep it alive and stable? Second, our own immune system. It's designed to attack invaders, so will it just kill the cure before it can even get to the infection? And finally, its biggest weakness. It's useless against those gram-positive bacteria, which means it can't help us with huge threats like MRSA.
Which really leaves us with this big, powerful question. The whole idea of intentionally putting a living, predatory bacterium inside a person's body, it's radical. But as our old medicines continue to fail, you have to wonder, to defeat the monsters that are evolving in our hospitals, do we need to unleash a carefully chosen monster of our own? That's the question scientists are racing to answer right now.